My name is Howard Lerner. This is my studio. Would you like a tour? I get totally involved in a subject matter. For me, it's not just about painting. It is about the subject and how I gravitate to certain ones in my work. I like all these combinations of spiritual or grotesqueness, things that you really are afraid to look at, but at the same time you do. I come from a very suburban background, small town in Connecticut. He got cracked. My dad gave me this feeling of making things. We actually made a ventriloquist dummy. His name was Woody. That was my other brother. It won't be talking like this. I moved to New York in 1982 and I was on the Lower East Side. I had been living in Tallahassee, Florida for 2 years teaching. When I moved to New York, I saw all these people on the street. They were all such characters. I went into a postcard store. I saw a sideshow banner collection. I was just in awe of them. This is where my inspiration, a lot of it is coming from to this day. I like the idea that culture can be improper. Do you see the midget?
Hello, welcome to my world, the world of Neptune's Palace. This sculpture is created out of hidden treasures found in flea markets, junkyards, and while beachcombing. My goal was to take mundane objects found in everyday life and transform them into creatures of the deep.
As you can tell, I'm not a collector. I rarely care about what happens to the pieces I get. And I don't worry if they get scratched or painted on. The same thing happens with Guy Lombardo. Beautiful album cover that I chopped away at it. I started working in collage 2008, and this has really enlivened me to keep going. I used to collect stuff for large-scale found object sculpture, but I couldn't cut wood anymore because of my asthma. The name of the piece is going to be Sorcerer's Table, and I've painted that out a couple of times already, so I was thinking maybe today it'll work. I saw this book called Giants, the Dwarves of Auschwitz. I knew I wanted to do a piece about them. They were floating up in a Zeppelin over the head of a guy named Mengele. He was a Nazi scientist who performed experiments on people. I said, this is a great subject. I want to really work with it. P.S. I ripped it up, and now this is the painting. Has nothing to do with Mengele. Has nothing to do with the dwarves of Auschwitz. And it became this sort of a giant. He worked animals, birds. He was selling snake oil. So he was the spiritual master, but he was also conjuring up things that were kind of the opposite. Maybe the connection I'm trying to make was Mengele gave himself up as I'm the doctor. Good doctor, but in reality he was a murderer. So I like that mixture of pureness versus not so pure. kind of on the opposite of pure, contaminated. I once said to a class, I said, if you don't like mixing colors, then you shouldn't do any more painting. I can't use turpentine. It's one of the main pieces of working in oil paint. I have to resort to just using oil. And I don't use linseed oil because it's just too expensive. So I make these big vats of sunflower oil that I get when I go to Trader Joe's. And it's working this stuff straight onto the canvas cloth, knowing that it's going to eventually rot the canvas. Going back to what I do to make a piece, this is 6 drawings dealing with the same piece that I finished, what you see over there in the collage. Another accordion player, but it has some biography. This says, death to spinocerebellar ataxia. I did it like a ransom note because my wife, Lorraine, has this disease. And all that commotion up there of a cowboy on a horse and a biplane sweeping by, all this tumult, that's her brain. That's how she has to deal with things in her head because of this disease. Hello there. They don't have a cure. They're working on stuff. Maybe people are spirits that are floating around. The stuff I do now, I'm sure within 50 years or less, it's going to be pretty deteriorated. I don't care much about preserving the work. I care about making the work. As simple as that. It's definitely ephemera. Definitely.